Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic, and we are live. I know that there were a bunch of live streams tonight. I know it's kind of late, at least for those who are in the southern United States, that it's pretty late, but, might be a few people that's still awake. I've been having a lot of fun with these live streams, so let's see if we can get anybody in here. So let me go ahead and send out the link and see if we can get a few people in here. Da-da-da-da. All right, we are live. Yes, we are. All right, let's tweet that. Oh, no, not that. But hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome, one person. I appreciate you. Let's see if I can get the chat up. Super Nibix, what's up, man? 4:30 a.m. What are you still doing awake? That is insane. Good morning, Ryan Jackson. Ryan Johnson's crack pipe. Hello, hello, welcome. So, Super Nibix, what are you doing awake? Are you up early for work? Are you just not sleeping? Like, what's going on with you, man? Oh my goodness. And also, where are you? Let me know that too. And Ryan Johnson's crack pipe. How are you doing, good sir? All right, we got 4 people in here now. Hello, hello, hello. I just wanted to jump on and see if I can take any more questions, have some more conversations, because we had a lot of fun last night. We went for over 2 hours, which was just crazy. It just flew by for me. I know that at one point I was like 20 minutes behind in the comments, so I figured we'd probably have a smaller group tonight. And so we could, get, a nice little small discussion going. I can, try and keep up with the comments live instead of falling 20 minutes behind. So let's see. A Rat Boy. Oh, snap. Where's the phone charger? Yes. Welcome, Rat Boy. Welcome once again. Hope you can find that phone charger. Ryan Johnson Crackpipe says, good here. Awesome. Good to hear. NJE 103 Egg at work folding laundry. Well, I hope that I can at least entertain you a little bit to get you through work. So thank you for joining me today. Super Nivix was happy with the Star Wars news today. Couldn't sleep. I'm in the Netherlands. Oh, well, hello from the Netherlands. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, this has been so much fun. So I'm sorry that you haven't been able to sleep, though. But yeah, the Star Wars news today has been really, really cool. Especially since I know that Jeremy covered this in a video earlier where he talked about how, according to some sources, to a few people, Kathleen Kennedy is gone. Bob Iger does not like the direction that Star Wars has been going in, and apparently no one wants to take the job. So this could be extremely interesting overall to see what actually happens with that, to see if Kathleen Kennedy really is gone, who actually will take over for her, and also the direction of Episode 9 and all the other films going forward. Because I covered this in my last video where I talked about how I'm very confident that the other projects that they had are on hold. It just doesn't make any sense to me that a movie that loses $200 million is going to lead to them kind of pushing forward, just not making any major changes. It just does not make any sense whatsoever. But no, if that news is indeed true, which based on the fact that we have now a couple of different people with connections, relatively big channels who have connections in the industry, connections within Star Wars, within Lucasfilm, it seems to be reliable. So we can only hope that it is, because it would be fantastic if she could be out of there. NJE says the news reported by Grace. Yes, Grace Randolph was great. Absolutely. That was just amazing. And it's just really cool to see how Grace has like transferred and how transformed almost in a way from being someone who used to be more on the lines like a John Campea or a Collider, where, just going along, enjoying the press passes and all these other things just to say things that make everybody happy. And now she's kind of just hitting that hard truth instead and just being honest. And I feel like a lot of people, and that's the reason why you have channels like Geeks and Gamers, Ethan Van Sciver, all these channels that are just blowing up, because you have people who are actually just being honest, who aren't just trying to, as they always describe. Again, I try and avoid, expressions like this, but it is true, like essentially being a bunch of shills where, all they're doing is trying to make everybody happy. They're just, enjoying the press passes, enjoying all the freedom that they get, all the attention that they get, all the free press, etc. But in reality, they're just not being honest. They're being fake. They're not being who they really are. They're not telling everyone how they feel. But so many people are drawn to that. So many people are drawn to people just being honest. And I feel like that's something that's been really awesome about all these other channels, is that you have a bunch of people who are being honest, and a lot of people have been drawn to that and have come together in that community. And it's been really, really great overall. Super Nibik says no one wants to clean up her mess. Yeah, I mean, who would? I mean, again, you have a movie now, $200 million at least in the hole. It's very hard to pick up from that. Again, everyone's, I think, especially those who don't see that there's a problem. I covered this in the article, in the article that I covered earlier today, the one from, oh Lord, what's the website I covered earlier today? Man, my day has been so long. But they even, all these major media outlets are just ignoring all the problems. And then what you end up having is you have all of these people who just try and spin all the stories, spin all the information, and they're just living in this ignorant bubble because they don't realize that, in their mind, they think, okay, when episode 9 comes out, it's going to be an amazing film. It's going to do so well. And, they base that off of the last time J.J. Abrams had a Star Wars film. But what they do by doing that is they just ignore the last few years since The Force Awakens came out. I mean, The Force Awakens came all the way back out in 2015. Again, it's been 3 years since then. A lot has happened. It's going to end up being 4 years since then when episode 9 actually comes out. And there is now a lot of bad blood out there. I mean, not only do we, of course, have all the nonsense with with The Last Jedi, with what Rian Johnson did, but now we also have it extended with Solo. And Solo wasn't even a terrible film. And I think that's also what they're ignoring. Solo was not a garbage film. Again, it wasn't great either. There were some really terrible parts to it, but overall, it was an average film, as a C film. Not what a Star Wars film should be, but still, it wasn't terrible enough to not make a profit, or at least not to break even. It was a film that I think if The Last Jedi hadn't happened, it would have broken even with Alden Ehrenreich, even with L337, it still would have broken even had Rian Johnson not just, crapped everything with The Last Jedi. That's just my thought on that. And everyone's just ignoring that. Everyone's just acting like that didn't happen. Everyone's just acting like everything's fine. But by doing that, they are now downplaying just how much of an effect this is going to have on episode 9. Because again, I don't think episode 9 is at this point going to lose money. But I think right now, as it stands today, I said this before, it's just barely going to be breaking even at this point, because it's been terrible. It's been terrible. Hello, we now have 7 people. Welcome, everybody. We're talking just about random things overall. We're just talking about movies, Star Wars, whatever you have on your mind, any questions that you have, anything that you want to talk about. I am pretty much an open book when it comes to this thing. Super Nivik says, Solo, the movie no one asked for. Yeah, that too. I mean, again, that just shows you how bad the leadership is at Lucasfilm. They are putting forward films that no one is really asking for. I mean, granted, a lot of people defend Rogue One. I didn't really like Rogue One that much, but it's also a film I feel that no one was really asking for. I mean, it was kind of intriguing. Oh, I wonder how they got the Death Star plans. But what they do is they took just a small line of dialogue. They took a very small part and then made it into a 2-hour film, over a 2-hour film. And I just feel like there are better stories that could have been told. If you wanted to go on this Solo, I don't know why I always say that, Star Wars story, I guess Solo Star Wars stories, because it's the one-offs. If you want to have these Star Wars stories, there are better. I still have the list of books and different properties that I need to check out, but you have just so many different properties that you can, grab from. You have so many things from the extended universe. You have so many things from the video games, from the comics, from all these other places that are better stories that you could have gone. You could have started with, I've been saying this because it just seems to be the coolest character. You could start with a Darth Bane film. Yes, it's obscure, but diehard fans are going to go see it. If it's a good movie, just like with any Marvel film, like Marvel made Guardians of the Galaxy. No one knew who the hell the Guardians of the Galaxy, for the most part, unless you were like a hardcore comic book fan, you would never have heard of Guardians of the Galaxy. And yet they took that property, they took those obscure characters, and they turned it into this, amazing film that so many people consider to be one of their top favorite MCU films. So you can take obscure characters that no one's ever heard of in the extended universe for Star Wars, and you can make a really good film that not only diehard fans come out for, but general audiences will come out for too, because guess what? They did it for Guardians of the Galaxy. So the formula can work as long as you have a good movie. Let's see. Brian Reel, thank you very much for joining. If Kathleen Kennedy is still in charge by episode 9, it is going to be a disaster. I would absolutely agree with that for sure, because all the decisions that she's made so far have just been awful, and I just do not see how they're going to get any better. I don't think that she's going to wake up one day and say, you know what, I've been doing this all wrong. I'm going to change my ways, and we're going to start making good films. I don't see her doing that, and so you're absolutely right. It's going to be a disaster if she's still on by that point. Sith Lord Luke Skywalker, hello, welcome, good sir. Thank you very much for joining me. Odin, LOL, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. I am doing well. I'm tired. My voice is tired. I mentioned this when I was in St. Louis over the weekend, and my allergies were just killing me when I was up there. So I'm just like all over the place right now. Of course, I'm back at summer camp, so dealing with 6 and 7-year-olds all day has got me tired too. But I just, I love doing this. It's been, I've done it now. I think this is my 4th day in a row doing this, and it's been fun every single time. And just, again, even just having a small group, we have 13 people right now. Even just having a small group like this, it's a lot of fun. We can have a lot of really good discussions. So thank you very much for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. NJE 103 Egg. Want to see an Obi-Wan film, but they will probably screw it up. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's like one of the worst things is that, people think, oh, these people who are attacking, who are speaking up against Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy, they just don't want these films. No, not at all. I think most people would say they want an Obi-Wan film. Again, again, for me, I mentioned this in my last video, and I had a lot of people already say, well, I'm going to be honest, I like the prequels. Well, yeah, again, I respect your opinion. I did not. I think they're funny, but they're bad funny, if that makes any sense. Kind of like The Room. It's like a bad, funny movie. But at the same time, I can at least respect people who do enjoy it because the characters and the universe is okay. It's just the dialogue and the story that's just total garbage, I feel, in those overall, in the prequels. That's just my own opinion. But going to Obi-Wan, I think that's a film that most people do want to see because one of the best parts of the prequels that everyone, I think, can agree on is Obi-Wan Kenobi, is that character, is just the fact that Ewan McGregor did an amazing job with that character, and we want to see him again. We want to see him on screen again. We want to see him play that character again. And all the rumors right now, I don't know if anyone's been, I'm sure y'all have been keeping up on this, but the rumor right now is that it's possible that movie has been scrapped, which would be, I think, a stupid choice because if you want to make a lot of money, bring Ewan McGregor in for for Han Solo, good Lord, no, for an Obi-Wan Kenobi film. Get rid of Kathleen Kennedy, get rid of all this Rian Johnson nonsense, make a good film. That movie will make bank. That movie will turn a profit. Will probably make 100, 200 million, maybe even more. Again, will it make $1 billion? Who knows? But it's going to make a hell of a lot more money than Solo did because you're bringing back a character that most people can connect to, an actor that most people like, and also you just at that point are doing fan service. And I know that some people say, well, you can't always do fan service and make money. Well, look what the MCU's been doing fan service for almost 10 years now in 20 films. And you know what? They're making money. Just going to say it, just going to put it out there. But yeah, I definitely want to see an Obi-Wan Kenobi film. I think a lot of people want to see that too. Oh, Will Last Name Guy says, we need more villain-centric movies. I think that obviously with the MCU, it's usually going to be focused on, the heroes. And I know that with DC, they were trying to, go in that direction with the Legion of Doom. DC is just not strong enough right now in their films to be able to do that. But even Sony tried doing that with Spider-Man, because remember how at the end of the second reboot of Spider-Man, I can't believe that they've rebooted that like 3 times now. But after the second reboot, they were setting up a Sinister Six film, and then it got canned because the films just weren't doing very well, and they weren't making a lot of money. And so I feel like, though, if someone, a more capable hand, had been a part of that, and if Marvel had been a part of it, again, if we had the Spider-Man that we now have with Tom Holland, I think that a Sinister Six film would be a lot more tenable. So we might see that in the future. But with Star Wars especially, you can make a film focused on villains. You can make villain-centric films, and I think that would be awesome. Again, I would love to see a Darth Maul origin story. I would love to see a Darth Maul story, from the end of the Phantom Menace all the way until the time that they set up in Solo. I think that would be really cool too. But of course, are they going to make those films? Probably not, because the fans would actually be interested in wanting to see those films, but Kathleen Kennedy's not going to greenlight that project. No, she'll greenlight Solo, and then she'll also greenlight the fact that she'll then greenlight saying, oh, I don't like your direction. I'm going to fire you, hire somebody else who probably costs more. And then he's going to say, I can't take 80% of this film. 80% of the film had already been shot. I can't use any of this. Let's reshoot the entire film and then balloon the budget, and then it's going to lose money. So yeah, that's Kathleen Kennedy. Those are the kinds of decisions that she's making, and I doubt that she's going to make anything, any good decisions anytime soon. That's for sure. All right. Good. We have some comments. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you all so much for joining me. All right. So Super Nivik says, yes, yeah, absolutely. More villain-centric films would be great. Brad Noble says, betting Kathleen Kennedy is not going to have much pull in episode 9. Yeah, if she is still around, which I think a lot of people think, and myself included, I don't think she will still be around at that point. I do think that if she is still around, her power will be severely limited. She will not have a lot of say in that film, and she will essentially just be pushed off to the side as kind of like the kind of like the puppet president, where she's the president, but all of her power has been stripped away. I think that if she is going to still be around, just so that she can, just so that on the on the face, it's, oh, well, she drove through, that's all about the narrative. She drove through the new trilogy of Star Wars films, and then eventually she, steps down and they try and write it off, saying, oh, she did this amazing job, but in reality, she doesn't have a lot of power. I could see that happening too. Let's see. Sith Lord Cywar says he agrees. Will Last Name, we can only hope. Will Last Name guy, a Skeletor movie would be interesting. Hey, you know what though? I think that I'm kind of torn on that, because if they were going to make a Skeletor film, it would be all CGI, or at least he would be CGI for the most part. And I don't want that, because I hate CGI characters, especially when they're not done well. And I feel like if they were going to make that film, it probably wouldn't be done well. If they were able to do something with practical effects, though, that would be a movie I would be wanting to watch. So that could be interesting. Sith Lord Luke Skywalker said, I heard Disney and Lucasfilm are playing with the idea to make Obi-Wan for Disney streaming. Yeah, I have heard that too. Right now, the rumor is that he's probably going to show up as a Force Ghost in Episode 9, which I think would just be a total waste of Ewan McGregor. But then again, if Kathleen Kennedy's still in charge, I would rather it be limited. I'd rather the damage for Obi-Wan's character being limited to just that. So that way, when someone else eventually takes over, which I really do think is going to happen, they can, try and save it. But we'll see, we'll see if that ends up happening. But yeah, I've also heard that too, that they might just put it on the streaming, they might make it a straight to streaming service movie, which I guess is a way for them to try and save face. But also, I think, again, it would be a waste of the Obi-Wan film, and it would be a waste of Ewan McGregor if they decide to bring him back too. Will Last Name guy says, I just loved seeing Yoda fight. I always wonder how or if he used a lightsaber. Yeah, I mean, that was a really cool part to me. The thing that kind of took it away, though, was the fact that he was totally CGI, and the CGI just doesn't really hold up. It wasn't very good then. It still doesn't really hold up now. And also for me, it also doesn't just make, I know this might be nitpicking, but in the prequels, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, here's this, old Sith, old Jedi Master who is, walking around on a cane, barely walk, looks like he's in pain. And then all of a sudden, when he's fighting, he can just do all these flips and everything. I feel like they just did a little too much with that fight. It didn't make sense logically to me. But then also, I didn't like that his entire character was CGI. One of the worst moments to me was when they randomly, and this is kind of turned into a meme too, when they just take a close up in on Yoda, and there he is, like rubbing his CGI hair, and it just looks really bad. That's just, again, I'm not a huge fan of the prequels. I know that, again, I respect you if you like it. I respect you if you like that fight. Those are the reasons why, though, I'm kind of critical of that scene in particular. Brad Noble says, the only one not scrapped I heard was Obi-Wan. Yeah, again, Obi-Wan could turn into a cinematic film. It could just go to the streaming service, but also they could just say, you know what, we're just going to put him in Episode 9 and see what happens, see if there's any buzz from that, which, I mean, there would be, because especially if they recast Ewan McGregor, I think it would be really awesome to see. But that's all, reliant on where's Kathleen Kennedy and what's going to happen with that going forward. Let's see. Brian Reel says, according to Grace, Kenobi is the only one that's not on the chopping block. I could see that. I mean, I feel like that at this point, again, of course, we all know there are other properties that they could go to that would make money. But I feel like at this point, that would be the only one with name recognition that might be able to bring enough casual Star Wars fans and just general movie fans in to be able to turn a profit. So maybe that might be their mindset going forward, because they know that at least if they decide to take it in a direction that they know fans won't like, or at least hardcore fans won't like, that instead that they'll at least be able to still make a profit with it instead. Let's see. Ryan Johnson's crack pipe. Lost it for a second. All right, Ryan Johnson's crack pipe. I'm guessing that in Episode 9, Princess Vespa and Lone Star will turn out to be race parents. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes, Ryan Johnson's crack pipe. Absolutely. And you know what? I think Ryan Johnson would probably make that kind of decision, especially with the whole crack pipe thing. But no. Oh my goodness. But you know what? To be honest, if Kathleen Kennedy was still in charge and they made that happen, which they won't, but still, it's fun to think. It's fun to fantasy book these things. I would be on board. I don't know if anyone else would be on board, but I think it'd be hilarious to see Bill Pullman come out of nowhere as Lone Star and just, oh my goodness, that'd be fantastic. But no, we came back on the serious side. That would be wonderful. So yes, thank you for that. Thank you for that suggestion. Lethal Lightning. Hello, Lethal Lightning. Welcome back. Glad that you can join me. It must be really early in the morning where you are too. Yeah, what do we have here? We again just talking. I know that a lot of people did live streams tonight, so I figured, hey, I got like an hour window that I can try and squeeze in, have some good conversations, and just have fun. Again, I said this very earlier that I think this is the fourth straight day that I've done this, and it's just fun. That's why I keep coming back. It's just so much fun, and thank y'all for coming back too, because without y'all, I'd be talking to myself, and I thank y'all every time for coming. I really do greatly appreciate it. See, Super Nimbic says, fire that story group. Damn, they're not creative. Absolutely. Again, Pablo Hidalgo, everyone that's involved with that story group should just go because they obviously have no idea what they're doing. But I always go back to it. The person at the top of that is Kathleen Kennedy. She needs to go as well. Lethal Lightning says that story has been told in Clone Wars and Rebels. Okay, good to hear that. Again, I'm working my way slowly through those series, and also I of course have the list of other properties that I need to go through as well. So thank y'all so much for those shouts, because again, I do want to be more educated on the extended universe, and I have y'all also to thank for that. And also every time that you have a suggestion, I do try and write it down, and I do plan on getting to it at some point. I can't promise you when, but definitely at some point for sure. All right, let's see. Sith Lord Luke Skywalker says they have a couple of really cool Darth Maul fan films on YouTube. Yeah, I've heard a lot of really great things about fan films that have been made. That's why I was really upset when Star Wars Theories film did not get funded. But I am so freaking excited for the essentially the mini series that they're going to do instead of the film, and I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be so good. Everything that he's posted, all of like the concept art he's posted, looks just awesome. So I think what they do with Darth, what he does with Darth Vader is going to be really cool. So yeah, if you can just link me up to those, I mean, just contact me on Twitter, just send me those, whichever way you can, so that way I can watch them, because I would love to watch more fan films on these things for sure. Let's see. Brad Noble says 9 will be JJ's film. Yeah, I mean, with what he did with Force Awakens, which again, you can criticize it as being a rehash of New Hope, and I think that's an honest assessment. That's how I would describe it. But he is also a very good director. Again, I don't agree with his politics outside of his films, but in his films, he stays true to films, and he's a great storyteller. So I think that if it's just given to JJ and Kathleen Kennedy is just kind of, taken out of power, or she's just limited in what she can do, I think it's going to end up being a really good film. And I think that a way that the fans, especially those who boycotted Solo, those who like me, paid to see Deadpool instead and then went to see Solo just so that I could talk about it from having seen it, I feel like those people, if they were able to know about these things in advance, would say, you know what, okay, I'm going to give this film a shot. Because again, we want to go see these films. We want really good films. We want to support these films. But now when these knuckleheads are in charge, that's really what's keeping us bad from right now. Brad Noble, for good or bad, I think it's overall a good thing. I look to his body of work and I like it. Again, I like what he did with Star Trek. I like what he did. I mean, some of his original concepts too, like Super 8. I know Super 8 kind of borrowed a lot from Spielberg, a lot of elements from Spielberg, but I still really like Super 8 a lot. So I like JJ's work a lot, but I can definitely see why you would say that. Lethal Lightning says, I disagree. I don't think every story needs to be a movie. Young Han would have been better as a comic miniseries or something. I agree with that too. And again, going back to that, again, I think that it still would have, I go back and say, I do believe it still would have made a profit. I still don't think it should have been made because, again, no one really wanted to see that story. But I do think it at least would have made a profit if Rian Johnson hadn't ruined Episode 8 with The Last Jedi. I really do believe that. Now, of course, are there better stories to be told? Absolutely. And that is not one of them for sure. Rose Tico Enthusiast, hello, welcome back. I don't message retracted. I'm sure I'm going to see a new message later on. Lethal Lightning says straight to streaming service Star Wars movies is a new low as same. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really is the new straight to DVD, as you say. I mean, if that happens with the Obi-Wan film, which again should be a giant film, should be a film that brings in so much money. Again, you are literally tying all the films together, especially if they were to bring Ewan McGregor back, because you are literally then tying the prequels to the original trilogy all the way now to the new films. And it would be just like really cool to see them do that and to see like the thread that they, tie in, especially if he turns up as a Force Ghost in Episode 9. That would really tie all of the films together, and it would be really cool to see that happen. And he's a really great Obi-Wan Kenobi too, so I would love to see that. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it really is essentially the new straight to DVD, which is not good. Rat Boy says, how about Skeletor slowly rots away throughout the film? That way, no CGI till the very end, get to use practical effects. Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be really cool. System Error says, Obi-Wan straight to streaming is dumb. That's their last box office draw card. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, again, are there other stories that could make money? Absolutely. But as far as the ones that they floated about, Boba Fett is not that film. Again, I think Boba Fett's cool. And I know that there's like a diehard group of people that love Boba Fett, but that is not a character that is going to bring in non-Star Wars fans, really. I mean, the only mainstream title that you have left, and you have the actor still who can play the role, who hasn't been killed off, either in real life or on screen, is Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi. So absolutely agree with you there. That's literally their last trump card that they can use to try and make some money. And if they're just going to put that straight to the streaming service, that is going to be a terrible, terrible decision for them. All right, let's see. Rose Tico Enthusiast, explanation of what though? Why she existed? Well, okay, I don't know what that was a reference to. Am I already behind? Oh my goodness, guys. I appreciate the comments, but I'm already behind. I feel so bad. Sorry if anyone's had to leave, but I'm trying to, again, as I said, as long as this community is small, I'm going to read every single comment that way. And again, because I am nothing, I cannot, have this platform as small as it is without you guys. And so I want to give appreciation and love to you guys. And so as long as I can do this, I will. But man, it looks like, I'm already almost 10 minutes behind. I'm sorry, guys. It's happening again. Oh my goodness. But again, thank y'all so much. I appreciate this so much. Brad Noble, anything the saber, how it got, where anything, okay, okay, I'm not exactly, I think Rostigo, I think you retracted your message, so I don't know what that's a reference to. Chris Tyron says, I agree with you about Yoda. That stuff they did with him was lame. Yeah, again, Yoda's an amazing character, but everything they did with the CGI just didn't work. Rostigo Enthusiast says, yeah, exactly. The old story for another time excuse. Jeff Cotto, my dude Odin, what's up, Broham? Jeff Cotto, what is up, my brother? Yes, thank you for joining me today again. So thank you so much. Absolutely. System error, story for another time equals haven't written that bit yet. Sorry. Rostigo Enthusiast says, they made so much fuss about how they were going back to puppetry, and then they bring in the CGI character. Yeah. I mean, they were like, oh, we're going to go back to this. And then they decided just to make it entirely CGI. And it just looked really bad. Again, Yoda's awesome. The character, the voice, everything was great except for the CGI. CGI was garbage. And it still doesn't hold up to this day. So I really hope that, I think that's why my favorite part of The Last Jedi, if I had to say anything really, again, there were a couple of things that I could say positively about The Last Jedi. One of them is Yoda. The fact that they brought back Puppet Yoda was a good decision and was awesome. Sadly, it was wasted on the film that was The Last Jedi. Super Nibik says, I think The Last Jedi was Rian Johnson's last movie. He is so bad for PR for any company that hires him. Absolutely. And really especially now with his comments literally attacking the fans for their thoughts on The Last Jedi, for the thoughts on the Star Wars universe, I think he's done. It would be box office poison for them to hire him again and give him an entire trilogy. It would probably end up being like the Divergent series, where maybe the first film might make some money because they would probably spend a lot of money on it, try and get some people in, but there's no way they would finish all the films because it would just eventually die. But I don't even think the first film would do well, because literally who would he be making it for? He wouldn't be making this for Star Wars fans, because there's a large portion of them that do not want to support him and do not want to see his stories. And I don't see what he's trying. Again, he's made the dumbest decisions possible, and I think Disney would make a terrible decision to bring him in for any more films for sure. Let's see. Roasting Enthusiast, story for another time equals we can't be ours thinking of something. Brad Noble, my God, would I like to sit in on one of those story meetings? I know, it's like, I wonder what they actually talk about in those meetings. I would love to be a fly in the wall. Roasting Enthusiast, we can only hope it's his last nib. Yes, we can all hope that for sure. Roasting Enthusiast, yeah, Brad, to be a fly on the wall would be great. Brad Noble, and then we have this orange Yoda with Anakin's lightsaber. Yes. Leave the lightning. You need a teacher. I can show you the ways of the Force. I know, right? It's like, you need a teacher, and she still hasn't been taught, and yet somehow she's amazing at the Force, and it doesn't make any sense at all. Again, it'd be really cool to have a training I mean, literally, again, what Ivan Ortega especially did, with little footage he had, he was able to make a training montage, sequence that at least makes sense within the film, more so than what Rian Johnson did. So I really hope to see that rough cut at some point. It'd be really cool to see. And then he says, I am happy to answer any Star Wars questions you got. Feel free to DM me if you ever have a question. Thank you, Lethal Lightning. I will absolutely take you up on it, especially because I know that you talked about the fan-made films, so I'm definitely going to contact you on that. Thank you very much. Brad Noble says, bong rip. Let's see. Roasting Enthusiast, yeah, I don't want to see Maz in the last film. Yeah, I'm kind of... her character's meh. I mean, she could have been really cool. Again, her character was at least somewhat interesting after The Force Awakens. Now, because she just literally had like a small cameo in the last, I'm done with that character. I'm just not interested. Rose Teague Enthusiast says unnecessary character, really. Yeah, pretty much at this point. Ryan Johnson's crack pipe. Hate to cut it short, but the kiddos are calling. Take care. Hey, Ryan Johnson crack pipe, thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. Go take care of the kids. I understand. And again, thank you very much for joining me. I greatly appreciate that. Let's see. Everyone's saying night to the crack pipe. Brad Noble says, ooh, I jumped and I don't like jumping. Jumping is not fun at all. Let's see. Everyone's saying, all right, Brad Noble says, then we will have this Snoke guy. Let's make him really white. I know, right? Like, again, Snoke was so cool after The Force Awakens. I still had my doubts because he was totally CGI, and you know y'all know how I feel about that at this point. But he at least had an interesting story, and then they're like, here he is. Oh, we're gonna kill him. We're gonna cut him in half. And then just to make it worse, we're going to show you a close-up of his face with his tongue hanging out of his mouth. Now, I know some people said, hey, JJ might be able to bring him back in some way. But at this point, with what they set up in The Last Jedi, I don't even want that character to come back. I feel like it was so ruined by that moment because it just made him look so weak that if they even tried to retcon it, it just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't be good. Rose Tiki Enthusiast says, hello, Odin. Jeff Cotto says, going to make a video called The Council of the Rebellion, where I take Kennedy and Disney to our court. Yes, they will get the saber. I have 10 guilty counts on them. I will upload tonight, Broham. Hey, link me in on that on Twitter so that way I can go check that out, Jeff Cotto. Thank you very much for that. Brad Noble, is there one new character anyone even cares about at all? Again, I think that... And then JE103 says, Rose Tico movie. There is now this strong movement for Rose Tico, which I just love. I love that Ethan Van Sciver started that because it's just fantastic. But I will say that I do think that there were characters. Now, it's hard to say, really. So anyway, The Force Awakens, I feel, set up some characters that were at least interesting, and I wanted to know. Again, I talked about this last night. Finn's character was at least somewhat interesting in The Force Awakens. They ruined him in The Last Jedi, so now I don't really care about it. So I feel like there were a couple of characters that were set up in those films that could have been interesting in Episode 8, but again, unfortunately, Ryan Johnson got his hands on it and ruined it, so we will never know. Super Nivix says, I have nightmares about Holdo. Yes, now do you have nightmares about the blue hair? Or do you have nightmares about some other things with Holdo? Let me know. Roasting Enthusiast, I got to say, I did care about Rey and Finn in Force Awakens, but I care less. Exactly. So you pretty much took the words out of my mouth. Again, even with Rey, even though she was still Mary Sue in The Force Awakens, I was still interested enough because I thought, okay, Episode 9 is going to explain it. Episode 8 is going to explain it. Episode 8 is going to give us a training montage of some sort, and it's going to help us to better understand why she is so good at the Force. And then we got nothing. And and that's why the characters essentially have been ruined at this point. Let's see. Lethal Lightning says, exactly. Boba Fett had some incredible books and legends, but they wouldn't make good movies, and some stories just don't work on screen, but do on page. Yeah, exactly. So again, do I think a Boba Fett film could be really good? Yes. Not with the current direction, not with the current leadership. You need to have like a knock out of the park Star Wars story to get people back on that train. Yes, and you need to, of course, to have a really excellent Episode 9 and any other movies they decide to do after that. But you need to have a better, more positive atmosphere right now among Star Wars fandom than right now, because it would not work right now. That Boba Fett would be another Solo. It would be another box office bomb. Even if James Mangold took it, again, he did amazing work with Logan. Logan was such an awesome film. It was one of my top 10 films of last year, but even he, I don't think, would be able to save that property with the current leadership they have right now at Lucasfilm. System Error says Rey is coming back as a single mother in 9. Hey, you know what? If what they've been trying to do continues, that's not totally out of the realm of possibility. Roasting Enthusiast says, sorry, I did that by accident. I said Maz wasn't a good character. Yeah, again, that's what I figured that you had been trying to say. Greta Zenner, hello, Greta. Hello, welcome back, Greta. Let's see. For the Obi-Wan film, would you rather an origin story or what he did between prequels and A New Hope? I think for the first film, I would like to have, because I feel like a lot of people feel like it's kind of writing itself. I would like to see that bridge between the end of the original trilogy. Between the end of the prequels and the original trilogy. I think that could be really cool. However, I will say that and also too, in order to bring, I think it also only works with Ewan McGregor still if you do that story, because if you try and do an origins film, you have to recast him or do something weird with CGI or makeup, and I just don't think at this point it would work with Ewan McGregor. But if you want to keep Ewan McGregor, which I think a lot of people do, a lot of people want to see him at least one more time as, you know, as Obi-Wan Kenobi. The only way that that would work is if you bridge the gap between the prequels and then the original trilogy. I think that would be a really cool film. They could do a lot with it. They could bring him, you know, on various hijinks and do all these other things. So that's how I would want to see that. Everyone's saying hi to Greta. Let's see. Brad Noble says, I want to see Fett Twin Engines of Destruction. Good comic. Yeah, I mean, whether or not it's going to work as a big film, who knows? Not with the current people that have it going. Jeff Cotto says, Jeff Cotto for Lucasfilm's president. Anyone at this point, especially everyone in this chat for sure, but anyone at this point would be better than what they have right now, because at least everyone here really cares about the property, because Kathleen Kennedy could give two craps about it. Let's see. Roast Duke Enthusiast says, I don't see how Rey can forgive Kylo Ren for killing Solo, though. Just how? Yeah, exactly. Again, all the motivations are just so muddled in The Last Jedi. It just doesn't make any sense. And that's why the film divided so many people, because where there's some cool moments, yeah, you can definitely make arguments that there were some cool moments in there and some cool character developments, but it was just also ruined by very bad storytelling and a lot of plot holes that just don't work, that you just can't go past. Because obviously most films have plot holes, but at least if it's a good movie, the goodness, you know, the movie itself can make up for it. Last Jedi just could not do that. Let's see. Will Last Name Guy. I don't feel like Obi-Wan on Tatooine would be very exciting. If they just keep him on Tatooine, yes, but maybe they could do, you know, maybe they could have a separate story arc with him. Maybe he has to leave Tatooine. Maybe he has to go on some kind of mission for a very short period of time that eventually brings him back to Tatooine. You know, they could do some things. Maybe there's a threat to, I think what they could do is that maybe that there is a threat to Luke Skywalker on Tatooine that he has to take care of, that eventually leads to, you know, a little bit more of his character development. That could be really cool. So there's a lot of things that they could do with that, I feel. Let's see. Lethal Lightning says Obi-Wan Origin would be better as a novel, maybe a small novel series like 3 books. Yeah, I would agree with that. Again, you could eventually make that a film, but I feel that they need to do a little bit more. Again, they need to get back on the positive side with Star Wars fandom before they try any of those films. But if they were going to put one out, I feel that bridging the gap between the prequels and the original trilogy would be the better take, especially if you want to keep Ewan McGregor in there, which I really want to see. I don't know about anybody else. Rose Tuki Enthusiast says Obi-Wan on Tatooine should be about him stopping rogue agents from finding out Luke's location and selling the info to the Empire. Exactly. And that would also give him a motivation to not only stay on Tatooine, but also to eventually leave Tatooine if he hears about a threat that he has to go take care of. And also be really cool, because then they could try and incorporate, maybe he has some interactions with some other Jedi that survived Order 66. That could be really cool too. Rostic Enthusiast says, one presumes Vader wants to find out. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is their father after all, so you would think that he would want to know that. System Era says you can make Obi-Wan and Boba Fett into Bond-like franchises with 20 films each, but you need to think big and use imagination. Disney does neither. Yeah, again, you could make money. Again, look at Marvel. Marvel has made 20 films in 10 years. Every single one of them has made money, and the most recent one has well over $2 billion. So you can do it. You can spread these films. Again, and a lot of these characters, some of them have had 3-4 films about them. And in the comics, they weren't even necessarily as big. I mean, Iron Man was a well-known character, but most people tell me who've read the comics that he was not the big character that he is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that is something to me, because the only comic that I've read with really I've actually read is the Civil War comic itself, where he is a big character, obviously, in that story. But again, that could be an interesting dynamic, because you can literally make 20 films about anything as long as it's a compelling story, it's well made, and you have people that want to see it. So now, do I want to see that? Not necessarily, but I'm just saying that, it could happen. It could happen indeed. All right. Got to get used to this chat jump. So guys, thank y'all so much for keeping the comments coming. I greatly appreciate that. All right, let's see. Lethal Lightning says, in Legends, a fair bit happens to Obi-Wan on Tatooine between 3 and 4, but the way Disney has redone the canon a bit, a lot of it can't be fixed. Yeah, again, Disney has done a lot to kind of disrupt that, but I still feel like there is a story to be told there that could be good. Rose Tigo says, Bond-like. Super Nimbic says, Rey suffers Mary Sue syndrome. Absolutely. Again, oh my goodness. Again, she can be good at the Force, but just not for the sake of being good at the Force. There should be some justification, which we have not gotten yet. Now, some people might say, oh, well, episode 9 will explain all of that, and then all those concerns will be taken care of. No. Again, every Jedi in the history of Star Wars has needed some training, and she has had none. I mean, I'm sorry, but it just does not work. All right, let's see. Mary Sue. She doesn't suffer. She embraces it, is what Lethal Lightning says. Brad Noble says, if Chewbacca rips Kylo's arms off, I'll see episode 9. Hey, I think a lot of people at this point would actually really like to see that happen. And also, I'm going to say this right now. Chewbacca solo film. I personally would love to see Chewbacca speak in Wookiee with subtitles the entire time. I don't know about anyone else, but at this point, at least it would be funny and entertaining. I'm having flashbacks of the Star Wars Christmas special. That's all I'm going to say about that. Personally, I'd like to see that, though. Let's see. Rose Tico Enthusiast says, I disagree. She's a Mary Sue. Maybe a bit too talented, but she flies the Falcon awfully when she takes off, and Kylo knocks her out cold and whisks her away to the Death Star. That's not really Mary Sue. Yeah, but there's so many other things that she does that every other Jedi that we've been introduced to, even Anakin. Anakin was, go back to Phantom Menace. Oh my goodness, his metachlorian count is off the charts. And then they had this whole, he was conceived by the Force itself. So you have literally Anakin, who is essentially Skywalker Jesus, who is, has still, even with the high metachlorian count, can do random things, but still needs to be trained to do the bigger things, let alone to fight with a lightsaber. Again, that still does not explain how she can fight with a lightsaber at the very end of The Force Awakens. So yeah, she still is a Mary Sue, I feel. But I still appreciate your thoughts on that. Will Last Name Guy says, a Chewbacca movie, no subtitles. Yes. So I feel like you're reading my mind now. I'm so far behind now, but yes, absolutely. Rico Hosting Enthusiast, it'll be like the Star Wars holiday special. Exactly. Who wouldn't want to see that again? Brad Noah, why in God's name would Snoke come back at this point? Exactly. Let's see. System error. Bond, like as in James Bond, like where are the 20 films of one character? I got your reference there. Rose Teak Enthusiast, you wouldn't get 20 films out of Ewan McGregor. Yeah, you wouldn't. I mean, especially if you're doing it in a very certain period of history, you would eventually have to, give up on that. But, who knows what they'll do with that character. System Error says, no, but you could have different actors of different ages like they do with James Bond. Yeah, I mean, that could work. You could have that. Again, Ewan McGregor, I feel like, would be the one that would need to start off. That's why I think if you start between episodes 3 and 4, you could then eventually branch out and focus on his origin story or focus, later in his life. I mean, that could be something that they do. It could happen. It could work. Rose Tuku Enthusiast Boba Fett, you can easily do 20 because you can't see the guy. Super Nimics. Yeah, exactly. Because you could literally have any actor play that role and just have the same voice or have a similar voice and no one would know the difference. Super Nimics says, Holdo's dress was so bad and the purple hair too. Yes, it is indeed the stuff of nightmares. System Error says, I think Solo was their stab at James Bond-like franchise within the franchise, maybe. Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, I feel like all the news articles were saying, oh, this is when they try to become the MCU. It just doesn't work for Star Wars. It's like, no, it could work for Star Wars if you had a good film with competent production. Again, that film would not have lost money if you didn't have all of the chaos going on behind the scenes with Lucasfilm. I'm sorry, it would have made money. It may not have been an amazing film with at least it had they kept Alden Ehrenreich and all these other things, but at the very least, it would have made money. I'm just throwing that out there. See, Rose Tico Enthusiast says Solo was more like a Western Shirley. Yeah, definitely more like a Western. Brad Noble, just put Thrawn in 9 and let him wipe out all the new characters of the board in the end with a dark fleet. Hey, you know what? If you're going to retcon something, or rather, if you're just going to start clean, that might be one way to do it. I've heard a lot of really cool things about Thrawn. Let me know if there's any good Thrawn novels, or if there's something that I should watch or something that I should read on Thrawn, because I've heard about that character a lot. It sounds awesome. Super Nimic says, reminds me of Cowboys and Aliens. Oh, let's not talk about that film. I didn't even go see that because it looks so terrible. Rose Tico Enthusiast. Yeah, good call, Nib. Is like that. It is like that. See, System Error. Yeah, but they were gonna have sequels to it. Super Anime Gamer 01. Hello, welcome to the stream. Rose Tico enthusiasts. Everyone's saying hello to Super Anime Gamer. Welcome. Everyone is welcome here, except for Holdo and her purple hair. Lethal Lightning. All right, I gotta head out. Take care. Oh, Lethal Lightning. Well, just thank you for joining me, even just for this little bit. Thank you so much for joining. Always greatly appreciate your commentary. I'm definitely going to contact you on Twitter to get some recommendations on books. And also, I believe you were the one that talked about and made a recommendation for some really good Darth Maul fan-made films. So I'm definitely going to hit you on that. If you even want to, if you're still on right now, if you even want to message me, just so I don't forget. I mean, I still plan on doing it, but just again, thanks so much for all that stuff. Everyone's saying, see you later, Lethal. See you later, Lethal. Oh, the chat jumped again. All right. Super Anime Gamer. I love the idea of doing a Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan movie, but I don't want them to make it until they fix Lucasfilm. Again, I totally agree. I mean, those films to me just won't be as good as they could be and won't work as well as they should until they take care of the problem at home. Again, until they take care of Kathleen Kennedy, until they take care of Rian Johnson, the entire story group, and put in people who actually love Star Wars, who actually want to do a lot with it, that is when you're going to see some change happen. And that's when we will want to see that Obi-Wan film. Because, again, the fans actually want that film and want Ewan McGregor to be a part of it, but not when we have all this nonsense going on, for sure. System Error says, trivia, Spielberg and Lucas were on holiday after Star Wars, and Spielberg was complaining that the James Bond people wouldn't hire him. So Lucas said, I've got a better guy. I call him Indiana Jones. Wow, that's interesting. Indiana Jones is awesome, except for Crystal Skull. He kind of, Spielberg and them kind of crapped it there. Rose Tico enthusiast, I wonder if Spielberg would do a James Bond now. I don't think so. I think he's at that point in his career where he probably is starting to just make projects that he wants to make, those passion projects, which unfortunately gave us films like Ready Player One, which was just not a very good adaptation of the book and just did not use the source material very well. And then also The Post 2, which was again just a movie that was I could say so many things about The Post. Let's see. Brad Noble says Vader should want to kill the hell out of Obi-Wan, period. Yep, took his kids away. And also the high ground, exactly. I have the high ground. That part. Oh man, again, I respect people who like the prequels, but sometimes it's a little bit hard to get through them. Let's see. Rostico enthusiast. I don't know why I have to say it that way. Lucas called him Indiana Smith at that stage, though. System error. Thanks. Did not know that. No worries. Rose Tico enthusiast says they wanted a plain name, but they didn't like Smith for some reason, so Jones was another common name. Yeah, and also, I mean, the first three films were fantastic. Crystal Skull did not need to be made at all. Brad Noble, Odin, we are all on the same page with a Wookiee movie. Okay, good. I've caught up with that now. Yes, the Wookiee movie would be amazing, right, guys? System error. Wookiee Apocalypto needs to be made. Will last name guy Indiana Smith just doesn't sound right. Yeah, but imagine that's what it could have been. Imagine Indiana Smith. I don't know about that. Rose Tico enthusiast. Anakin pilots a ship by himself when he's barely 10 years. Yes, that is a fair point, but also he is a character where we are understood that he works with ships, so therefore him knowing how to fly ships is kind of in his character already. When it comes to her, Rey has never dealt with a lightsaber in her life. Someone says, "Oh, she had that stick." Yeah, but that's not a lightsaber. That's not essentially pure energy where, just one misstep and you will cut your fingers and arm off. I'm sorry, but a lightsaber needs a lot more training than a staff, and they're not anywhere the same thing. And yes, I will definitely give you some that, something that him driving, the bigger ship in the long, but even then he does struggle with it for a while. He doesn't know the buttons, but eventually he gets to know it, because at least that does make sense, because once again, he has that training with all the tech that he works with. So that's how I would explain that. All right, let's see. No time for love, Dr. Smith. Sith Lord Luke Skywalker. I fell asleep watching it last weekend. Yep, that sounds about right. Rose Tico enthusiast. Well, yeah, nobody called Anakin a Mary Sue. That is true. Holiday special is what Sith Lord Luke. How could you watch that? I feel like I couldn't fall asleep because I would just be laughing the entire time. Brad Noble says midichlorians Hayden acting still better than this new garbage. Yeah, again, I said this. One of my friends said you can't say that the prequels are better films than the new ones, and I would say, okay, if you're saying films, then I could agree with you. I think that as far as the craft of the film, as far as the quality of the product as far again on a technical level, then yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that, you can make that argument. But as far as a movie that I would want to see again, I would much rather watch and sit through the prequels. Again, I own every single Star Wars film. I own the prequels and the original trilogy, and I would rather watch the prequels than go see Solo again or go see The Last Jedi again. Let's see. Super Nivik says Planet of the Wookiees, Rise of the Wookiees, or 28 Days Later with Wookiees. Yes. Oh my goodness, we could write so many such better stories than the story group at Lucasfilm right now. Rose Tico Enthusiast says, I don't think the actors were the problem in the prequels, though they just had bad direction because Lucas isn't that good. Yeah. Again, I think it was both. I do think it was a mixture of both, because because keep this in mind, Ewan McGregor had that same direction, but he's a much better actor, and that's why everyone loves Obi-Wan Kenobi in those films. Now, they might not like everything he says because some of the dialogue is total garbage, but him as a character, everyone likes his performance, which is why everyone wants Ewan McGregor to come back to that character. You really can't say the same thing with Anakin Skywalker or a couple of the other characters. So that's what I would have to say about that. Let's see. Super Anime Gamer, Solo was so unnecessary. I have no idea what was running through their heads. I don't think they knew what was running through their heads either, which is why we got that film. And L337, that's all I have to say. Again, I posted this earlier too, guys. Check out my Twitter feed if you want, because earlier today they released what the special edition, I think it's a Target special edition Blu-ray set for Solo is going to be, and it's literally a red Millennium Falcon, and all I could think about was Ethan Van Sciver talking about the Millennium Flamingo, because that's literally what it looks like. It's red, so it's not exactly pink, but still, it's literally the Millennium Flamingo, and it just reminded me that L337 is now at the heart of that ship, which is just, you just ruined something. Yeah, they had to ruin something that was just so great. Rico Rose Tico Enthusiast, even Sam Jackson and Natalie Portman were bad, and they're usually fine. But again, Natalie Portman to me was bearable. Obviously, there were bad moments, but that was also because of bad dialogue, not necessarily because of bad direction. The dialogue was what was a big problem there. And Sam Jackson, I thought, did a fine job, which is, again, why I feel like a lot of people would like to see a Mace Windu film at some point. At least that's how I feel. I would like to see a Mace Windu film, especially since I do think that he is still alive. I don't think... One of my students is so obsessed with this conspiracy theory that he was Snoke, which just didn't work for so many different reasons. But still, I think it would be really cool to see Mace Windu come back in Episode 9 in some form or fashion. I think that would be really cool. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. Super Anime Gamer says, yay. Let's see. Sith Lord Luke Skywalker says, hi, guys. Brad Noble says, Episode 9 title, Survive Thrawn. OT All the Way. Welcome, OT All the Way. Read the Thrawn trilogy by Zane. Okay. Or Zahn or Zane. I'm going to write that down. For anyone that is joining who has not watched previously, if you give me recommendations on movies or books or anything, whether they're Star Wars related or not, if it sounds interesting to me, I'll write it down, and I will hopefully get to it by the end of the decade. But no, I do appreciate that. So let's see. Thrawn by Zahn. All right, definitely going to check that out. Thank you very much for that shout. Even though it is non-canon now, hey, if it's still a good story, I would like to check that out. Everyone's saying hello to Sith. Will Last Name Guy says it should have been required reading for everyone involved with the new movies. I think they should have just watched the original trilogy, and that should have been required watching, because I don't think they did, which is the reason why they made a lot of really bad mistakes for sure. Let's see. Brad Noble says Tim Zahn is great, and have Caboth's clone beat the hell out of Rey. Hey, could be cool. Rose Tico says they can soon make it canon, though, if they go back in the timeline. Yeah, I know that that's something that's been talked about a lot on Jeremy's channel, where he's talked about how there are some time travel elements that have been introduced in some of the stories. So that could be really cool. And if that's the way that they can make it work, and you know what, if it even erases some of the things that were done in The Last Jedi, it might be worth it. I know that it's a headache for some people, and I know that some people don't like it, but you know what? If it's the only logical way to fix some of the things that The Last Jedi does, maybe it's something worth considering at the very least. Let's see. Hi, Rose from Sith Lord Skywalker. Rose Tigo says, I haven't heard of the Post. What's it about? So the Post is about the Pentagon Papers. So it's literally about the Nixon administration, or rather, no, it's about the Kennedy. It's the end of the Kennedy administration. No. Sorry, scratch that, reverse it. So anyway, it's about the sorry guys, it's been a long day. So it's about the Pentagon Papers, which has everything to do with the Vietnam War and basically how they knew what was happening in Vietnam and they try to keep things hidden from the public, a lot of political stuff. And so basically it's all about the Washington Post. That's why it's called the Post, and how they uncovered, or rather they started to print pages from the Pentagon Papers, and we're being attacked by the government and sued by the government to stay quiet. And it's this whole commentary on the news media going against the government, which again, a better film was made. It's called All the President's Men. So if you want to see a good movie, if you want to know more about the Pentagon Papers, if you want to know more about that story, go watch All the President's Men instead, which is a really great film. Go see that instead. Don't see The Post. The Post is total garbage because literally all that it is you have Meryl Streep in there, who we know is just the queen of Hollywood liberals. And, she's, of course, in there. And it's just the whole time I thought to myself, this film, and they've even admitted it. Steven Spielberg even admitted that he fast-tracked this movie. This movie was supposed to be made, I think, released either this year or 2019. And he fast-tracked it because he wanted it to come out during the Trump administration, which, again, I'm not going to share. Again, everyone has different opinions on him. Again, I'm not going to really share those here. I did not vote for him. I'll just share that much. But I will say that it's so petty to make a film solely for that reason. I just don't like that. But anyway, that's The Post. Go see All the President's Men instead, though. It's an older film and it won some awards. So I would check that out instead if you're interested in that storyline in general. Super Anime Gamer says, did you know Crystal Skull was actually Harrison Ford's idea? Spielberg did not want to make it. That is interesting. Wow, I did not know that. So, yeah, Harrison Ford in his old age, not as sharp as he once was, I guess. Sith Lord says, I hope all of you are doing great. We hope you are doing great, good sir. Rose Tico says, you can call me RTE if that's easier. I don't know. I might just call you Rose Tico. It's everything together. That's a little bit hard to get out, but RTE, I might say that instead. RTE. So thank you, RTE. But I also want to shout out your name too. So if anyone joins later on, I want you to get the credit for the credit that you deserve. All right, Super Nibik says, didn't like Indiana Jones with Shia LaBeouf. I like to call him Shia LaBeouf personally. But then again, anything with Shia LaBeouf isn't very good. Yeah, I think the one film I will stand by as being well made is Disturbia. I don't know if anyone's ever seen Disturbia, but it's awesome. It's essentially a remake or a reboot. Going off the discussion that we had the other day about reboots and whether or not any of them are good, Disturbia is essentially a reboot of a classic Hitchcock film, Rear Window. That's essentially the direction that it goes in. It pretty much takes that idea and updates it in a lot of different ways. And it's just really good. I personally liked it a lot. I liked him. I liked also Shia LaBeouf in that role. It's one of the only roles that I really like him in, though. I will say that much. Let's see. RTE says Finn uses the lightsaber, though. Yes, but again, I feel that the reason why he's not called a Mary Sue is because he obviously struggles with it a lot, and then he loses. So he struggles with it and he loses. And also, he's not shown to be force sensitive either. So again, I understand where you're coming from. And also, too, with him, he does have also, again, going back to his background, he was raised from birth and brainwashed from birth to be a stormtrooper. So he would have at least knowledge of those kinds of weapons. Now, whether or not he'd be good at it, Again, I understand where you're coming from, though, but that would be the way I would explain that. RTE. Super Nimic says, was waiting for the first interracial kiss between Rey and Finn in a Disney movie. Never happened. Yeah, everything, all that we were waiting for. Brad Noble says, Yusan Vogue would be a disaster at this point. If you say so, it sounds about right. RTE says, Rey kisses Finn at the end of Force Awakens. Nib? Does he? Is it on the lips or is it on the cheek? I don't really care much about that part. I don't care much about that storyline, but just let me know. Okay, sorry. I should have kept reading. RTE says on the forehead. Yeah, on the forehead, but, friends do that, right? We're all friends here. Sith Lord says, it was late. I should have started it in the middle. Yes. All right, Super Nimic says, RTE didn't even notice. Brad Noble says, Tico is going to pull Finn. Oh, Rose Tico Finn storyline. Oh my goodness. I hope they don't try and bring that further. I guarantee you, if they go in the direction that they've been going in, that there's going to be this like awkward tension moment where Finn, Rey, and Rose are all in the same room together. And oh my goodness. Oh, I'm cringing already just thinking about it. RTE says, yes, because Kylo took out Finn and he was unconscious and she kissed him before she left. Okay, yeah. Okay, something about woke. That's the last comment I need to go to. Oh man, y'all are rocking it today. Super Anime Gamer says, "Go woke, go broke." Yeah, pretty much. Look to Solo, and I would even say look to Last Jedi. Yes, it made 1.3 billion, but again, $700 million less than The Force Awakens, and you can't just say, "Oh, that's because it didn't have the same kind of buzz." I'm sorry, no, it's because it made 70% of its total take in the first 2 weeks, and I wonder why. Let's see. RTE says the Tico romance is too sudden. They had already developed a Rel and rather a Ray and Finn. Yeah, absolutely. They had already. I mean, they were setting that up from from The Force Awakens, and I was kind of interested in it, but at the end of the day, we don't really need necessarily a romance to get a good story. So that's where I am on that. Brad Noble says it's JJ a polar bear is gonna show up and kill CGI Leia. Oh Lord, I hope not. Oh, I just hope that CGI Leia is not brought in. And I don't think I hope they don't. I mean, obviously they could do anything at this point, but I feel like out of respect for the character and for Carrie Fisher, they should just find another way, kind of similar to what they did after, with The Dark Knight Rises, where they didn't try and bring in his voice. They didn't try and bring in Heath Ledger's, as a CGI character or anything like that. But, they didn't even mention him, which I thought was a bad idea. I know it was out of respect, but what they could do in this film instead is just to say, just make a reference early on in the film saying the fleet was attacked and, and General Organa was on the ship. And then that's a way that they could write off the character, still pay respect, and not just I really hope they don't use CGI. I think that would be a bad move overall. System Error says Finn got friend zoned on his death in The Force Awakens. Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Friend zoned in the ice cold on his deathbed. RT says go back to Ryan's new script again. Oh, goes back to the new script. Brad Noble says Snoke was Khan all along. Yes, Khan. And then all of a sudden you've got the Star Trek character. I said this in the very beginning with J.J. Abrams coming in. Here's this right here. So we've already come up and written that there should be a Wookiee film. How about this? A Star Trek Wars. J.J. Abrams is there. I mean, could happen, right? Maybe. No. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That would be that wouldn't be good. Maybe. You could convince me. All right, Sith Lord says, if Mace Windu was Snoke, that could be very interesting twist. Yes, it could be. Random Game User 42 is lurking around. Hello, Random Game User. Welcome. Don't lurk. Don't be afraid. Make a comment. Have a question. I appreciate them from everybody. And I will read it too. RTE says, oh, hey, random question. Aren't you usually in Ethan's chat? Yes, so I'm actually, I try and watch all the live streams that I can. Obviously, things have just been so crazy, and there's just so much content now that it's become a lot harder for me to. But I do try and watch Ethan's chats. I try and watch I was in Jeremy's chat earlier. I was able to watch him for like 10, 15 minutes. And I try and catch up with those as soon as I can. But with work during the day and just I'll have a little bit more time this week, so hopefully I'll be able to catch up on his stuff or watch his stuff live. But yeah, I am usually in there, so that's probably where you've seen me before. Sith Lord says, "Let me get the names real quick." Cool. Super Anime Gamer says, oh, cool. You take movie suggestions. Did you see Blade Runner 2049? Yes, I do see. Yeah. So Super Anime Gamer, I think this is the first time I've seen you in the chat. Yes, I do. You can literally ask me anything, whether it's Star Wars related, whether, any movie. I'll talk about pretty much anything within reason, of course. But I've actually mentioned that before. I loved Blade Runner. I love the original Blade Runner. The final cut is the best version, is the only version really. But I will say Blade Runner 2049 is fantastic. I love Denis Villeneuve. Butcher the name again. I love all of his films, and what he was able to do with Blade Runner 2049, it is a tragedy in my opinion that film did not make money at the box office. I was so upset because I saw that in film and I was like, this is a modern epic. This is a modern epic tale, and it's done so well. It's so beautiful, and no one went to go see it. It makes me so sad because I was hoping that would make so much money that they could, build the universe even further, that, Denis could get another film. Unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's going to happen because I think it barely made its budget back, if even, because of course it was huge and it just didn't make money, unfortunately. I'm hoping that it gains that cult status where it makes a lot of money on Blu-ray sales, DVDs, and they're able to justify making another film in the future because the Blade Runner universe is just awesome. It's so cool. So yes, thank you for that question. I do take those questions. Sith Lord says, Darth Maul Apprentice on YouTube. All right, thank you very much for that, Darth Maul Apprentice. Yes, because I was asking earlier about what fan film is good. So Darth Maul Apprentice. And then I'll put YT for YouTube. Thank you very much for that shout. Welcome, Random. Yes, indeed. We welcome everybody here. RTE says, no, I didn't mean they go back in time. I meant they can set films just after Return of the Jedi when Luke, Han, and Leia are younger again. You need to recast them. And I think that is what they wanted to do at some point. I know that there was conversations at some point of recasting those characters. At this point, that's just not going to happen because there's just no, again, Solo's losing money, is bleeding money right now, and they're putting all their chips on episode 9. So I don't think that's going to happen, but I think it would be really cool to do that. But you would need a good director and a good producer and a good casting agent, because casting for Solo, I'm just going to leave that there. All right. So OT all the way says a one-time time travel undoing Last Jedi. Let's see, would be cringed, but I would take it at this point. Yeah, I feel like all of us are like that. I feel like all of us would cringe at that, would say, oh, you could do so many better things. Let's not do that. And at this point, though, I think most of us would say, you know what? I will accept that. I will do, I'll take that as it is for now. Let's see. Random game user. Hello. Yes. Welcome. Sith Lord says Star Wars Contract of Evil on YouTube. Oh my goodness. So many suggestions. I'll put that underneath it. So Contract of Evil. Cool. Got it written down. Thank you, sir. Brad Noble deep throated. Oh boy. Oh boy. RT. Oh, the Post was the newspaper where the two journals worked. Yeah. RTE says, I've already seen all the President's Men. I'd watch anything with Robert Redford. Yes, absolutely. Robert Redford is great. One of the best parts of, oh my goodness, which film was he in? The MCU film that he was in. I know what film he was in. I know what his character was. I'm just blanking on the name of it. I'm sure all of y'all know what I'm talking about, but he was awesome as a villain in that. Let's see. Brad Noble, same here. Tico, thank you, sir. RT. Let's see. Super Anime Gamer, initials wouldn't work for me. I would just be SAG. Yeah, and I think we should just keep SAG as the Screen Actors Guild and not try and drag you into it. But if Greta's still watching, Greta is a member of SAG. She just got her SAG card, so everyone congratulate Greta if she is still in here. So go ahead and comment Greta, so that way everyone can congratulate you for all the hard work that you've been doing and congratulate you on that SAG card, because you will be getting screeners and it's going to be awesome. And also, of course, you're a member of SAG too. So, all right, Brad Noble, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is epic. Have never seen it. I know that might be blasphemy. It's been on my radar for a long time, but yes, I have not seen that film. RTE, I might have to abbreviate my name. Let's see. Everyone's talking about Butch Cassidy. Butch. Oh, man. Oh, I cannot wait to get to the end of the chat. I'm sorry. I just saw John Wick mentioned, and I'm so far behind, but oh, my goodness. I cannot wait to talk about John Wick. There's so many things to say. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Y'all are doing great right now. RT, Finn uses her staff, though, so a sword isn't a huge step. Yeah, but it's not just a sword. It's a lightsaber. So I just feel like it's a little bit different. Again, RTE, I totally understand where you're coming from. I just doesn't work for me. And I feel like everyone's about to talk about that. I mean, a staff has weight, a light sword, not as much. Why can he handle one without the other? Traditional sword. Okay, everyone's talking about that. Ray sure can and fly the Falcon like a boss equals Mary Sue. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. System error, Finn, Ray, and Rose in a room together equals instant power cringe. I'm pretty sure there would be a collective cringe in the audience of people going like, oh, no, please, no. We don't want to see this. RT says, no, Brad. She drags it when she takes... okay, still talking about that. Just saying made it cringe. She's winging it. MXASC, RTE, the Finn Rose relationship is nothing more than marketing ploy to draw in the Chinese box office. That blew up in their faces. Yep. And so hopefully they do something better. Because again, I think, are you a Ticopath? Because I'm a Ticopath. Let me know in the comment. Sith Lord says Carrie Fisher's brother is fighting for her to be in episode 9. Okay, yeah. And I can understand why people, I mean, even her family members would do that. I personally would have a problem with that. That's just me. I'm not, again, no one has to agree with me. That's just where I stand on it. How can they do that? RTE, literally they can do anything with CGI these days. I mean, they made her young. I mean, that was not her. That was a total CGI character. I don't think it looked very good, But at the end of Rogue One, they brought in a total CGI character, and also Grand Moff Tarkin they also brought in as a total CGI character. So they can do that now, and I'm not a huge fan of them doing it though. I don't see how that's going to happen. No new footage. Again, she would be totally CGI. Will last name guy. As a sword enthusiast, I feel a lack of weight would be as bad as too much weight. Without the Force, it would be difficult to know exactly where the blade is, if that makes sense. Absolutely makes sense to me. Again, with what little I know about swords, just from a logistical standpoint, that makes total sense to me. Greta says they should open episode 9 with Leia's funeral to pay tribute, then get on with the story. Yeah, absolutely. And as I said before, I feel like they should just mention it offhand. And then if they want to do a funeral, that could be really cool too. I feel like that would be a really good tribute as well. As long as they don't go into the Furious 7 where they pay tribute to the character, even though the actor died. I just had a problem with the ending. Again, the song is beautiful and the sentiment is beautiful. I definitely teared up at the end of Furious 7. But at the same time, I kind of wish they had actually given the actual actor a tribute, like shown footage of him doing all the, all the charity work that he did, but then still keeping it within the film, because it still just doesn't make a whole lot of sense what they did with that one. But I totally agree with you, Greta, on that. RTE says, point taken, Will. Brad Noble, the opening crawl should tell of Leia's awesome end. Oh my goodness, absolutely. That would be another way to do it. You could, instead of just having it be a line, you could literally have it in the opening crawl. That's another way that they could do it as well. Brad Noble, and Chewie starts ripping arms off with Lando. Yes. Oh my goodness. I think all of us want to see Chewie pulling out some arms. That would be awesome. Greta says, actually, that's a better idea. Yes, all of us want to see that. But no, definitely with a name crawl, I think that would be a better move all around. Yes, in yellow text, they can do the crawl open with her funeral. Yep, my thoughts exactly. Episode 9 should be John Wick with Chewie. Okay, this is a John Wick comment I saw. John Wick is awesome. It is one of my current favorite franchises that's being built. I cannot wait for Chapter 3. I mean, Chapter 1 and 2 both were incredible. I feel like they're both on the same level. I could watch both so many different times. They are just, oh my goodness. Keanu Reeves, rebirth as a character, rebirth as an actor came with John Wick, and I'm just loving every second of it. And also, Keanu Reeves is an amazing human being. I think all of us can agree with that too. Let's see. Wedge as the pilot. Sorry, Brad Noble said Wedge as the pilot. System error said, oh, sorry. Super Anime Gamer says, if John Wick can do that with a pencil, imagine what he could do with a lightsaber. I know, right? And if anyone could be a Mary Sue without being a Mary Sue, it would be John Wick, because John Wick is just awesome and everything, and it's written to his character that way. System error says, I feel guilty for missing Blade Runner 2049 now. Too many reboots and bad sequels and overhyping put me off, so I missed a good film. Damn. I totally understand where you're coming from, because I feel like a lot of people had that mindset of, oh, it's a 3-hour film. Oh, it's another Blade Runner film. Oh, they're just trying to milk it. But literally, they gave Denis Villeneuve full reign, full control over the project. And so literally, he makes this almost love letter to cinema in a lot of ways. And it's just so freaking beautiful. So if you haven't seen it, I think you've now seen it. But if you haven't, please check it out. It's so damn good. RT says, yes, Solo has scuppered casting Han Solo ever again. RT says, I haven't heard anyone ask for a Wedge spinoff. Brad Noble says, Star Wars, a revenge story. Biggs Dark Lighter spinoff. Winter Soldier was thank you. Winter Soldier was the one I was thinking about. So thank you very much for that shout. Let's see. Yeah, Winter Soldier. Thank you very much. Winter Soldier was the film I was thinking about. Bring back Lobot Huts Ewoks, all to kill the Order. Yes, I think all of us. Ethan Van Sciver made this comment. I think all of us want to see a Lobot Lando love film. I think if you want to please the fans, if you want to get on everyone's good side, and if you want to make bank, we want the story of Lobot and Lando and their love. It would just be fantastic. I think all of us want to see that, right? Right, guys? You're not going to leave me for that comment, right? Yes, everyone, congratulations to Greta. Yes, fantastic. Greta, I'm glad you're still here. Yes, congratulations. Thank you, everyone, for congratulating her. She's done so much great work, and she's been working her ass off, and it's just so great that she got it. So congratulations once again, Greta. Get on it, Rogue One. Red 5, stay on target. Stay on target. Was Red 5 Luke? RT says they need to get an old woman who looks like Carrie through episode 9. I just don't think they're going to do that. Again, they could either do a total CGI character, which I think would be a bad move, or they would recast, and I just think that would be a bad move too. I hope they don't do that. Yes, Luke was Red 5 to MXASC says that. Brad Noble says Revengers, a solo story, Billy D as lead. Get me a ticket. Yes, with Lobot at his side, with his faithful Lobot at his side. I think all of us want to see that. Let's see. RT says he isn't addressing Luke when he says stay on target. Yeah. Brad Noble says I'm not canon. Sith Lord, got to go. Have a great night. Well, if you've already left, if you're watching this later, thank you so much for joining us, Sith Lord. I appreciate it so much, and I hope everyone is giving you a good night. You are fantastic. Guys, if you haven't followed him on Twitter, he's great. It's the same name, Sith Lord Luke Skywalker. He is fantastic. Please go check him out. He's awesome. Everyone's saying good night, good night, good night. I think I'm almost caught up, guys. Oh my goodness, I'm almost caught up. This is amazing. All right. Let's see. Canyon. Nobody's better than Canyon. If anyone can get that reference, I'll give you a cookie. I'll give you a digital cookie if you can get that reference. Nobody's better than Canyon. Keanu Reeves is great. Yes, he is so good. RTE, yes. RT says, I don't want to see a Bill and Ted sequel. I do. I love Bill and Ted. I know that there's some people who might not like it, but I freaking love Bill and Ted so much. I love both films, and I am so excited that they're working on 3 because I think they could do a lot of funny things with it. And if I could trust at this point in his career, if I could trust anyone to make a funny, awesome film, it would be Keanu Reeves. So I will go see that opening night if it actually happens, which I think at this point it's been greenlit. The script's, I think, still in process, but yes, I want to see that. Brad Noble says Point Break is the best movie ever from the, I think you meant to say 90s. Yes, absolutely agree. Point Break is fantastic. Directed by a woman, guys. Who would have thought? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, but anyway, Catherine Bigelow directed that film. Awesome, awesome film. Great director, too. Let's see. Will Last Name Guy says, weren't they talking about a new Bill and Ted movie for a while? Yeah, it's been in the works for a very, very long time, but I think now they're finally at the point where it's essentially happening. They just don't know exactly when yet. 90s MX ASC says, last I heard it's been greenlit. Yep, that's what I heard too. RTE says, yes, sounds like Bill and Ted still might happen. I do think so. Nice. Almost caught up, guys. Let's see. Hell yes, ship Lobot and Lando, and then SJWs will love it. Yes. Oh my goodness. I will see. Opening night, I will go to see a Lobot romance film for sure. Super Anime Gamer says, and it kind of sucks too because Villeneuve's next project is a Dune reboot. I think it's going to be great, but again, another property with a cult following. Yes, but if you have not seen Blade Runner 2049 and you have those concerns, watch it because I think that those will put your concerns at rest because when he is given full reign, when he is given full control of his projects, he does amazing work. Watch any of his films. He's made, I think, 4 or 5 feature films, American feature films. Every single one of them has been great. There's a couple that are more art housey, like for example, Enemy, but it's still really, really good. Let's see. Greta says, thanks for the praise, Ian. Have to go. Have a good discussion. Hey, Greta, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate you being here once again. It really means a lot. And no, you absolutely deserve it. So thank you very much. And congratulations once again. So everyone's saying good night to Greta. Yes, have a good night. Have a good night. Brad Noble says, get my cookie, WCW lover, bang. Brad Noble gets the digital cookie. Again, I actually have cookies here, and if there was a way, if we could do like a Willy Wonka, and I could just shrink it down and just give it to you, I would. But anyway, digital cookie for you, sir. Yes, WCW, nobody's better than Canyon. WCW in the 90s, nothing could touch it until Attitude Era, WWE, fantastic. WWF, man, let's bring the F back. I don't care about the World Wildlife Fund. I do, but still, as far as the name, we want it back. All right. Yes, good, my cookie. RTE says, I like Bill and Ted, but they were teens. I don't know about, but you see, that's the thing. They could make it work. And I saw someone mention Dumb and Dumber didn't work when they were older. So RTE, you said that. And I totally agree with you. The new Dumb and Dumber 2 was not very good at all. But that I blame more on the writers than I do on the actors, because I think the actors were very loyal to their original characters. So I think that it could work as long as it's a good script and a good story. And again, if Keanu is going to sign on for it at this point in his career, again, if this had been back during The Matrix, I would have had questions. But at this point in his career, I would definitely go see that for sure. So Samara says, you have a trilogy where the first two have no time gap, and then the third is like 10 years later. So malformed and stupid compared to the original trilogy and even the prequels. Yes, absolutely agree with you there. Brad Noble says, oh, good, a woman. I like KB stuff. Yeah, Catherine Bigelow is very, very, very talented. I did not see Detroit. I heard mixed things about it. I heard that it kind of goes in certain political directions, and so that's why I have not seen it yet. But all the other films, I mean, Zero Dark 30 was fantastic. The Hurt Locker is an amazing film, so she does really good work. MX says, then again, how could you ever top the ending to Dumb and Dumber? Yep, totally agree with you there. Random game user 42, Bill and Ted could be as good as Cobra Kai because they actually care about the characters. Yes, thank you. Cobra Kai is a perfect example of them rebooting, remaking an old property, and in a lot of ways, I feel making it better. Because again, I like the original films a lot. I like the original Karate Kid, and I like even the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank. I like that film. And I mean, I love Mr. Miyagi. I love all those characters. But I will say that as far as quality goes, I would much rather watch Cobra Kai season 1 on loop than the original films because it was just that damn good. Check it out. Brad Noble says Hurt Locker is a great film. Yes, it is. It is so damn good. MXASC says Lobot and Lando wouldn't work because Lobot is Mogid's little toy. Maybe, but we can dream. That's what we do here. That's what we do here on Otis Amiibo Blog. We dream. And if we want Lobot and Lando to have the love story that they deserve, it'll happen. I think it'll happen. Real last name guy. I was surprised with Cobra Kai. Yeah, me too. I was very, very surprised. I thought, I mean, especially when I found out that it was on YouTube Red, I was like, I have not heard of one good thing from YouTube Red yet. And I watched it, and it's actually funny. So the way YouTube Red work, I have YouTube TV, which is an excellent service. Small plug. YouTube TV is great for what for the money that you pay, especially with the World Cup. Oh my goodness, the World Cup! So many things to talk about with the World Cup. I'm so excited. There's just oh my goodness, there've been so many good games. But anyway, going back to the main point with Cobra Kai. When I was watching on my TV, I accidentally watched the last episode first, and when I finished it, I thought, this is a very interesting way to set up the universe. I can't wait to see where they go from here. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh, I've seen the last episode. And then when I start from the beginning, I was like, oh, this helps explain a lot. Here's all the character development that I was missing. But even then, even watching that episode last, it was still really good. So yeah, definitely. If you have not watched Cobra Kai yet, find a way to watch it. It's fantastic. If you have the money, get YouTube Red. Get YouTube TV, because then you can get YouTube Red content in addition to that. It comes with the package, and you can watch Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is awesome. RTE says, who's making... I'll let the comments explain that one. MXASC, a Verpine slicer that appeared in the Thrawn duology. He used Lobot as a relay conduit for slicing into the Imperial records on Bastion with Han and Lando. Yes, but they can bring him back. They can bring him back. We believe. I believe. Bill and Ted has taken a long time, and they've had time to make it a decent script. Exactly. And they're both passionate about the project. And I feel that, again, I go back to, I think that Keanu Reeves is not going to pick a story that he's not going to be passionate about and is going to come off great. Super Anime Gamer says, I've seen, I think, 3 of Villeneuve's films. My concern is with box office return. I want him to get at least one box office hit. Yes. So I would totally agree with you there, because especially with Dune being that cult film, like you were saying, it might be an amazing film. I am confident that it's going to be an amazing film. Even someone who's never seen Dune and has is not entrenched in the Dune fandom, I would say I'll still go see it, because I'll see anything that Denis comes up with, because he's just that brilliant of a filmmaker. But again, if they give him full reign, and it's going to have a big budget because it's going to have a lot of CGI set pieces and it's going to be brilliant. But yeah, I can agree with that. I would love for him to have a big box office hit, but that all comes down to marketing. And it comes down to just the overall drive of the audience. So I really hope that happens for them. It'd be great. MXASC says he literally used Lobot as a toy. Well, I think all of us want to see Lando use him as a toy. I think that's what we all want. Donald Glover's Lando to use him as a toy. I think we all would love to see that. Rose Tico Enthusiast says, all right, didn't have a clue about the plot. RT says, Thrawn duology. When's that come after the trilogy? Let's see. Oh, I loved 249 says Super Anime Gamer. Yes, Blade Runner 249, one of the best films of the last 10 years. My favorite film of last year. MXASC says Spectre of the Past, Vision of the Future, great duology of books by Timothy Zahn. I've heard a lot of things about Zahn, so I'm definitely going to check him out in the future. RT says, all right, I have the Thrawn trilogy and Showdown at Center Point, but that's all. All right. What Showdown Center Point? Sweep the leg, says Brad Noble. Yes, sweep the leg. OT all the way. +1 for Cobra Kai. Yes, Cobra Kai is awesome. System error. If we rely on word of mouth instead of shills, then good directors like Villeneuve will rise at the box office and crap guys will fall. Yes, absolutely agree with you there. System error. Word of mouth can do so much. Look at what it did with Solo. I mean, I would say that it lost money. It did not break even, and a lot of it had to do with the fandom menace. It had a lot to do with people like Ethan Van Sciver, Jeremy, Geeks and Gamers. It had a lot to do with this the Star Wars community not going to see that film, choosing not to go see it. Not just the people actually boycotting it, but even those who said, I'm not interested, I'm not going to go see it. That had a lot to do with it, I think. Will Last Name Guy says, I think it was one of the old Lando novels. Let's see. Oh my goodness, I'm almost caught up, guys. MXASC says, you find out that nonsense about Han's last name is complete hogwash. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that was such a dumb part of Solo. Oh, you don't have a last name? Well, I guess you're Solo. I mean, that's pretty much how they presented it. Not in that way. I mean, that at least would have been funny, but no, it was not very good. Sorry, guys. I just lost where I was in the chat. RT says that Han's name is different in the books, the origin. Brad Noble says, wax on, wax off, a spa story. Yes. MXAC says, because it turns out that Solo is a Corellian family and Han has relatives. That's interesting. That would be a lot cooler than what we got in Solo. RT says, yep, sounds a lot better than the film explanation. It certainly is much better. Not as tacky. Absolutely agree with you. Brad Noble, not going to see it until... No, guys, stop. I was just about to be caught up, and now it's jumped again. Damn, guys. Y'all are amazing. I love y'all. Not as tacky. Not going to see it until TV, says Brad Noble. Super Anime Gamer 101. Oh, did you see Grace Rondoff's vid on Star Wars today? She proved Ethan right. Yes, absolutely. I saw Jeremy's report on it, so I've not actually watched it myself. It's on my queue to watch the actual video itself, so that way I can give her that view, because especially when she's working like this, providing us news like this, I want to give her the views. I want to give her the attention that she deserves. And yes, I have heard. So if anyone that hasn't heard, I think everyone in this chat follows Jeremy at Geeks and Gamers or follows somebody that has reported on the story. But the story is that that someone on the inside of Lucasfilm told Grace Randolph that Kathleen Kennedy is out, and that Bob Iger does not like the direction that she has taken it, and that they're kind of trying to find there's no one that wants to take over for Kathleen Kennedy. So I really hope that that's true. I really do. It was great. MXASC says, aside from Darth Vader scenes, I didn't care for Rogue One. Yes, same here. And again, the Darth Vader scene is absolutely something they added in, because remember, Rogue One suffered from reshoots as well. I think that scene was added on at the last minute, very similar to the Darth Maul scenes shot, put in at the end of Solo, because I feel like they were trying to give the audience something to look forward to. Because again, Rogue One, it was an okay film, but the best part for sure was Darth Vader kicking some butt with the red lightsaber. Brad Noble says he should have played drums, a Solo story. Brad Noble, Whiplash worked. Whiplash, oh my goodness, another fantastic film, my favorite film of that year. And I was so sad that his next film was not very good. His next film was La La Land, and it was so disappointing. But Man on the Moon, I think is his next title, with Ryan Gosling, looks really good. So I'm hoping that he gets back on track, because he's another awesome up-and-coming director for sure. Super Anime Gamer says, about Disney's hating on Kathleen Kennedy, they want her gone, but nobody wants a job. Yep, exactly that. Grace knows. RTE says, yeah, I bet they don't want the job. No one wants the job. Again, to repair this damage is going to take a lot of work, and so no one wants to put in the time for that for sure. Susan Mara says, do you remember the conference calls in Mulholland Drive? I bet it was like that. Mulholland Drive. Yes. No. I have not. I'm thinking about Sunset Boulevard instead. Mulholland Drive has been on my radar for a lot as well, so I'm gonna have to go see that. But your reference sounds spot on. RT says, how does Grace know though? She has sources on the inside. Very similar to a lot of other YouTubers. Super Anime Gamer says, Bob Iger is pissed. He spent $4 billion and she killed it. Yep, $4.5 billion. RTE were corrected. Brad Noble, dig a hole that deep. Hard to find someone to jump in, pretty much. Nemesis 08, welcome. I'll take the job and restore the Republic. Yes, again, I think anyone in this chat, anyone on YouTube at this point could do a better job, at least produce. Because again, when it comes to the producers, they're the ones that bring the people together. They're the ones that, get the direction, the story going in the direction that they want. Any one of us could be greenlighting better projects at this point. MX is responding to somebody else. Super Anime Gamer, Gray says Business Insider is the one that she cited at the studio. Yep. RT says usually Collider breaks that stuff. Yeah. And also keep in mind, RT, you said that Collider broke a story that then Lucasfilm and Disney came out and said it wasn't true. So I really do feel like they're now starting to bite the hands that feed. I mean, either they're starting to I always get that reference messed up. I don't know why. But anyway, they essentially discredited Collider in their story reporting. So that's really interesting that they would do that to one of the few at this point, it seems one of the few places that still is very pro Star Wars, pro Kathleen Kennedy at this point. Will Last Name Guy says probably pays better than a deli. Yep. Brad Noble says Grace knows she uses Force Mary Sue style. Yes, absolutely. All right. So I have caught up with the chat. It is late, so I am going to take just a couple more comments, and then I'm going to end it for the night. So thank y'all guys so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. This chat has been awesome. This has been another great live stream, and it's all thanks to you guys and all of your comments and all of your just knowledge. It makes me smarter, and I hope that you get something out of it as well. It is just so much freaking fun. So thank all guys for joining. I'm just going to catch these last comments and then head out. So RT says Collider lost their insider when John Campion left. I think, yep, sounds about right. Brad Noble, Collider is getting the shill treatment. MXASC sounds more like KK and her regime have been given a stay of execution. Definitely does feel like that. And Nemesis 08 says, first set of films would be Vader hunting down the leftover Jedi after Order 66. We need to see young Vader. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. We do need to see that. And hopefully when Kathleen Kennedy is gone, we will get those films. OT all the way says, good night. System Error says, Lucasfilm said Emphas Ness was a man too. They are fibbers. Yes, but none of us believed it. All of us pretty much knew that she was going to be a woman. So when the reveal happened in theaters, I was like, okay, I already knew that was going to happen. What's the big deal? Oh, wait, she's 16? Now, I did not expect that to happen, and now it doesn't make any sense. So thank you very much for making that decision with Emphas Ness. Will Last Name Guy says, thanks, brother. Great chat. No, thank you very much for joining me once again. Super Anime Gamer, glad I could catch the stream. It's been fun. Thank you for joining me. Please join again because I try and do this, possibly every night. I don't know quite yet. It's really going to depend on when other people are streaming because I definitely don't want to try and take away from anyone else's chat. And again, I do like having this small group because it's just so much fun. RTE says, thanks, Odin. Night. RTE, no, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate you for being here once again. Leave the Lightning, I am back. Well, we are leaving. I'm sorry, Leave the Lightning. If you want to catch up, it should be uploaded not long after we leave. But thank you for joining me once again. Just to say goodbye. I appreciate that. System Error says, always a fun to talk movies with you, Odin. Well, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. It's always fun to talk movies with you guys too. I love it. Nemesis 08 says, night, brother. Sleep well. Talk to you tomorrow. Enjoy your keep it up. Definitely. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. Again, y'all are also the reason why I keep doing this. Y'all are the reason why I keep producing content because if I'm reaching anybody and if I'm bringing joy or interest to anyone's life, I cannot think of a greater compliment than thank you. So thank you very much. I do greatly appreciate that. Bad timing, lethal for sure. Brad Noble says, wow, she has boobs. Who cares? Exactly. Lethal Lightning says, no worries, man. Hey, no, but thanks for joining again. Alien, you've been listening this whole time. Why haven't you been oh, you've been playing Fallout 4. Okay. Well, thank you for listening anyway. Brad Noble, good chat and fun. Thank you. Lethal Lightning, time zones are crazy. 1:30 p.m. Tuesday here. Oh my goodness. Yes, the time zones are crazy. But that's also something that's really cool. I was telling my wife about this. There are people watching from Sweden. There are people watching from Australia. There are people watching from all over the world. It is so damn cool. I'm so as much as technology can, separate us, it can also bring us together in some really cool ways. This being one of them. I mean, we are literally 11. At one point, we were at 15. We are just 11 to 15 people having conversations about movies from all over the world at the same time. It's just really cool. I'm nerding out right now, but it's just so cool. Brad Noble says, keep it up, Odin. RT says, no Steph tonight. No, Steph did not join us tonight. I'm sure that there was a reason why. She always hates when she misses any stream or any video. So I'm sure that she's doing something else. And so definitely go give her a shout on Twitter though, because she is an amazing person in general. So let's see. Lethal Lightning, respect from the land down under. Yes, no, thank you, sir. Thank you. Fist bump. Your beard is so damn cool, Nemesis. Thank you. I am going to be trimming it soon. I know that you might not want to hear that. I'm still going to have it, but I'm definitely going to be just cleaning it up a little bit. I have to appease the wife sometimes. So Will Last Name Guy, maybe next time. Yes, definitely. So Brad Noble and the fans are the problem. good luck with that. Yes, absolutely. So guys, thank y'all so much. Have a great night. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great night. And as always, God bless. Have a good one, guys.